All right, here we go. Coming at you on the 11th of August, 2021. It's Wednesday today, middle of the week. Not too much trading going on for me today. Kind of some half dip and rip attempts, but not really going after anything hard. I kind of liked looking at number 7, Jack number two's trading on the day of how he was going short, playing the types of fades that were going around. Lots of day 2 trades on the docket for today. But other than that, nothing really going on much for me. Just a watching kind of day. SPY had some great CPI news come out at this time frame, 8:30 Eastern time. Look into that specifically, like I care. The market obviously loved it. Then a little bit of sell-off. Whatever. Market internals. This Nasdaq's still on the low side. $200 billion total today. NYSE 236 total dollar volume. OTC's under $2 billion volume. Interesting to see. Today's episode, by the way, brought to you by Pensacola Crematorium. You book them, we cook them. Go to PC for all your crematorium needs. So, yeah, like I said, not too much trades going on for me today. MDIA was one that I was kind of watching pretty heavily to see if it was going to do something crazy. This is a super low float. It is 1.8 million float. No news catalyst for this type of kind of cupish pattern or big peel off back to the upside after this big move here. That's in the broadcasting radio sector, American company. Bowen didn't like this one for that reason, for the type of sector, but it doesn't really matter anyway. So I initially got a starter position as it was looking strong in the pre-market around this time frame. So I think, show my trades. I initially, as it was perking up above these highs, I'm thinking, okay, it's coming with strength. It still has not put in a huge amount of volume yet to say that this is the end of the mover. It's going to dump hard. So I really got like maybe like a 10 share. Yeah, it was 10 share position here at this point, just as a protection type of trade. Whereas, okay, I kind of missed the real breakout itself, but I still think it has way more upside to come. So just being in it to be an emotional experience of it, have skin in the game in these types of trades, and not taking up too much cash, especially for this types of trade. To my benefit too, doing that type of protectionism trading totally allowed me to breathe through this trade and let the trade fully breathe on what it was going to do for the day, because this whole pre-market was just a big uptrend, especially looking at this VWAP. It was just a nice stair stepper the whole way into the market open. If I was just so hyper focused on every single tick, I would have gotten in with my original entry around like 11.6 here, saw a nice spike and then fail, and then it dumped off here and go, oh, trade's over, I'm done, and then just immediately pulled out. Whereas with this super small size, I was able to say, oh, geez, it kind of dumped. Didn't really crack VWAP, so I'm just going to see what it does, kind of hold around. A little bit degenerate in that thinking, but also, in my opinion, the trade was nowhere near done at this point too, and especially since it's such a low float, you got to give these so much more room to breathe because of their volatility that just entails from that low float. So chopped around, not the most awesome dollar volume or liquidity today. Jack number 2 also noted that as well too later in the afternoon, especially as we're getting dojis here, which is pretty insane. Only $50 million volume today at the end of the day here. So then I was 10 shares long by market open. Within the first minute, I was watching this one pretty hard, and then we're spiking right away out of the gate. I'm going, awesome, sweet. I'm kind of fooling around, changing my order entry window to say, all right, I'm looking to take off half of my position, sell 5 shares. If we start to get halty at some point here, we're moving pretty well. And then I look back up again, and then all of a sudden, I know where it just slams back down. A huge, just monster dump on this, coming from 12.4 all the way back down, coming down to 10.8 at the bottom of this candle here. I was baffled, totally thrown off, and again, thankful that I had a super small size, that I wasn't so emotionally crazy in this. And just at that point, I knew, okay, something's up with this one, and the trade's kind of over. So I let it breathe a little bit more in these candles, and then I kind of got stopped out near the bottom of this red candle. Of course, right near the bottom, once again, of this little trend. But that was an interesting one. And looking back at number 7, Jack number 2 today as well too, he was immediately getting short after this huge dump, after that slam, which is something that I didn't even cross my mind. And now looking back, it seems so obvious. slammed extremely hard out of the open with the biggest dollar volume of the day. Yeah, by far. Most volume of the day, slammed extremely hard, now under VWAP, failing to even come close to touching VWAP. Maybe could have gone short. Something that didn't even cross my mind, but I'm thankful that's why we look at other traders and not to evaluate what they're doing and compare ourselves to them, but to see, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that type of mentality on these types of trades. So he nailed that across the spectrum on a lot of the market today too, just playing these fades that were failing to dip and rip or hold any of these gains in the pre-market or from the previous days as well too. So that was an interesting one. Lost. What'd I lose on that one? Lost $10 in total on that one. No big deal whatsoever. Still emotionally ready to look at the other tickers that were on my watch list on the docket for me today, which was FULC. Of course, this was the big mover from yesterday that I mentioned. Didn't trade it yesterday, but held extremely well and mentioned yesterday too, hey, this could definitely be one to watch for today. Then they put out in the after hours yesterday a 424B5. That was today, this morning, 6:05 Eastern time. So that was around this time frame, and then this totally just became, in the mindset for me of, okay, this is a failed offering dump. Even though the offering hasn't come out yet, the 424B5 is obviously drawing in the not advanced, but the, strikey shorts who want to get that quick move to the downside. They immediately see any sign of an offering coming out and they're just looking to get short. They got squeezed hard in this pre-market, and it was, stupid me that I've seen this type of pattern before on these, whether or not the offering has actually come out or whether the signs of the offering is about to come out, that it's not just dumping or dying immediately. That becomes a huge bullish sign. And I shoulda, coulda, woulda, gosh dang it, got a long position around here as it's holding right around VWAP. Still, rising VWAP, but a VWAP that's still greater than what it was yesterday. A decent amount of volume at that point, not ludicrous, but still holding and not dying off. And that's really the sign you need to be looking for with these types of trades. And of course, it just moonshots even before market open. This one, I got another kind of protective position. I called it once again, knowing that, oh geez, I missed this 3-candle move here. I think it still has plenty more upside. Again, this one is like a 2 million float, 17.5 million float actually. Still a low float, not 2 million obviously. Reported short interest of 4%, but low float mover. Got to be ready for it, especially with this new attraction of a potential offering drawing in more speculation into this ticker. Man, I missed that move here, and then I got like a literal one share position at this point, and then it was just chopping around here for a few minutes, and I was like, oh, that was a kind of stupid trade. I should just take myself out of that. Stop. It could just dump right back down into market open. I don't think it's gonna spike hard crazy, and then bam, it just goes hard to the upside into market open. I was surprised we didn't get any amount of pullback before market open, to say the least. So then this one again, number 7, the same thing of seeing we get a nice spike immediately out of the gate and then rejection, and then hard rejection under VWAP that still again chops around with a lower float. But it's around this point that Jack number 2 is saying, okay, the trend is looking good to the downside, even if potentially around that 945 window, it does start to curl back at some point. We've still got plenty of room here coming from 25, looking exactly at this chart today. You can play this from 24.5, take your less than, that's your $2, just under 10% at this point of trying to scalp in and out of any of these down moves, selling into strength, into the liquidity that's offered in the morning session, at least to these downsides. And of course the fade the rest of the day too, if it actually ends up working out, keeping your risk level managed at all of these different price levels. God, totally a trade that I totally didn't even think about. I've always just, rose-colored glasses to the upside on all of these that I don't even realize, oh, it's kind of stuffing here. This could actually be a fader just the whole rest of the day, and that's what a lot of these were. I shoulda, coulda, woulda also been checking around this point too, that I'm kicking myself I didn't. Should have been checking locates as a short to see, hey, are there crazy high borrowing fees through Trade Zero at least? if there's a lot of shorts bagged in this that could easily get squeezed like this. I didn't check it at that point, and I think I checked it around this time frame here when I realized that, and it was only like 2 cents a share, so super minimal at this point. Yeah, I wish I would have done it back in this point, just as another metric, a little indicator for what this trade could have been to the upside before the eventual fade today here. God, that was another one. That's totally just another step in my evolution as a trader that I haven't reached yet. I haven't even experimented with it yet. So I'm kind of excited to maybe paper trade some of these, or just even, I don't want to waste my day trades just taking super small position sizes on these ones. I'd rather just paper trade it at that point, or, even mental trade it, but that's a totally different animal as well too on these. But that was FULC. ZEV. Mover from yesterday, the big old percentage move on the day. This is the EV sector play. This one's the float of 2.1 million. Earnings on yesterday as well. I forget on that one. But anyway, coming into today, a little bit of a weaker pre-market, choppier once again. Looking if it's going to break any of these higher days. And then we can risk off of that, $12 whole round number area as well. Just ended up dumping. And a little bit of a basing action here, putting in some higher lows, working well. But then this trade, of course, looks absolutely wonderful and beautiful. But to be taking that trade, in hindsight, of course, this looks awesome. It's so pure and beautiful right away. But then to be sitting through that to say, okay, we're back above VWAP. Now we're pulling back a little bit and then dumping back under VWAP, back up again. Okay, it's holding decently well. And then you're taking, okay, this red candle here, just big sell off, but then back up again a little bit. And I could see the trade totally being there. And if I had a smaller position size, being willing to hold through that type of chop. But it is chop. The dollar volume today, 242 million on this one. And also the fade on the backside as well too. Trying to nail those is just like, I don't even know what analogy to use. You're just picking tops essentially. And Matt Monaco was a great example of that one today too on mRNA he was playing. He was just trying to dip buy at such random locations and just completely getting stopped out so many times that he was just taking stupid paper cuts so many times. I was kind of bewildered at that. But that's the same thing that I feel with these. Of course, I haven't gotten a lot of experience in those types of setups or trading those, trying to pick tops like this specifically because, I probably, if I'm watching this hard, probably would have gotten short around this point and then gotten screwed out with a new high day. And then now I'm hesitant to do it around here because it could potentially just come back, hover at $11 the whole rest of the day. But interesting. Liquidity is what we're looking for, and we got to take what we got with what the market's giving us right now in regards to the big dollar volume movers on the day. As for the OTC market, NSAV was a good one. The big gap down, I see news here that they did launch a new cryptocurrency platform, but I see another thing here that they've got a new CEO. So I don't know if something did happen to their CEO that gapped this price down so hard from the Monday to Tuesday, which could have been it. But then anyway, kind of had a nothingness yesterday, and today it was looking pretty decent. Sykes made like $500, I think, on this one, as it was just coming in with more bidders willing to support it, and it's breaking this previous day high of 3.4 around this level. Could have even played around that point. I think he was playing even the high twos to the low threes, which is an even riskier bet, in my opinion, to try and play that to the upside. Opportunity was there. $13 million volume today, so not crazy, but good amount of liquidity on this one. Just not hot OTC market to draw my attention away as of right now. DYAI. This one I had an awesome morning dump short on the 26th of May. I recognize the ticker, that button. So this was the 26th of May. I forget the news catalyst or what happened at that point. They had, I think it was a COVID vaccine news here, actually. Yeah, in India. The float today at this point, 9.3 million. and reported short interest of 7%, and just totally choppy holding action once again here for this pre-market. This is a little bit cleaner of an image. And then we get this immediate skyrocket to the upside right out of the gate. Similar kind of pattern again with, what I am seeing Jack number 2 doing, of saying, okay, we're getting, if it's a sign that it's a big stuff of selling here, like at this point at 935, that's a pretty good sign. It could have some more potential downside, or just slowly bleeding away the price, at least for the short term intraday. And that totally was the case on this one. You're looking at beyond 10% opportunity here at any of these points. 4.5, playing it down to just at 4.1 here. There's your 10% block at that point. And then this is where you just get another great example of do not get cocky, don't get greedy in all of these, because you can easily get pushed, squeezed out of these just randomly out of nowhere. If it starts holding a little well, putting in some higher lows, coming back to touch VWAP, oh no, we're not breaking VWAP right now, we'll just hover right here, and then bam, they smack you. Ludicrous action on that one. And just choppy waters, like the ocean, how choppy these waters are the rest of the day. The trend was up, but it's just a headache to try and manage. Of you're below VWAP, now you're over VWAP, now you're kind of holding VWAP, but now you're under VWAP, but then you're holding VWAP again, and now you're back under VWAP. And the volume candles just so inconsistent around the day too, looking down here. So that was a mover that, coming from now that I'm really not looking to short anything pre-market, recognizing this name from the previous time I played it on May 26th, that just came with a mentality on this one of, okay, I'm just going to watch it to see what these former great opportunities that used to work well for the pattern I was seeing, okay, what are they doing now? This one obviously choppy, but I may have to consider that they may not just continue to die off. It may become a pattern as well too, that they're just holding around or chopping VWAP in the pre-market, big spike in the morning, fade, sell off, and then they somehow, some way come back later in the day to squeeze out any lingering shorts. That may just be for a very, very short amount of time in these last remaining summer weeks, month, but that may be something to take into effect for those former types of trades that I used to look to get short. AHPI, the Bryce Tui ticker. Hard call on me for this one. It was a gap update yesterday, but hard selling, and now we have big move to the upside today. Obviously, the pre-market was to the upside, but the call to say, I'm getting long here around this 12.4 area, and I'm looking for a move back up to the upside. You've got to be playing off of any type of news, which I don't see. No news catalyst once again, like this thing didn't even run up with news anyway. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're just immediately dumping, rejecting VWAP hard, and then really doing nothing the rest of the day. A little move here, but nothing to trade off of at that point. It's just weird to me on this one. Again, just so choppy looking at the daily. This is just like headache city to me on this one. But $294 million volume on the day. And the trading blocks are kind of there at some point. I think Bryce Dewey has the right idea of looking at this one more of a swing than any intraday type of trading pattern. Golly. And then finally, TAOP, the bad boy, once again. This thing just is a magnet to 3.9. The news release, again, they announced there's crypto news. They're purchasing Ethereum mining machines, whatever. This is a Chinese sketchy company. Float today is 5.8 billion. Reported short interest of 3.5%. Again, spikes to 3.9. That's just absolute, perfectly. Is that perfect to 3.92? It is. That is creepy. And just does the same exact thing. Fades to 10% opportunity. I told myself I was not going to touch this one, but I was so ready with my order entries if it wanted to come back closer to 3. If it was going to break 3.8 at this point, I think it was under VWAP, I was getting my orders ready because the bid was a little bit stepping up. The volume was dying off. And I was thinking, man, this could just explode back to the upside out of nowhere if other shorts are playing off of these previous days and the sketchiness of the stock that is just going to dump. This could be another squeeze like the how many weeks ago that was, how many days ago that was. Was it this day? The 30th, I think it was. Yeah, the end of that month, end of June, that it did have a bigger move to the upside after this 10% move. Oh, I was waiting for that one again, but of course it just didn't happen. And there's your 10%, even at market open to the short side. Oh, this ticker. It's not like it's just taking my money or anything. It's just like I feel like I've been watching you for so long and I still can't predict you. I still can't understand it. Probably because I can't read Chinese. But anyway, that's all I had today. Again, just super minimal down day, more learning lessons. And I think going forward too in the next few days, I will definitely like to either mentally or even just paper trading. Hey, looking for more of those kind of top picking shorts, if you want to call them that, or saying if there's a huge sign like MDIA or ZEV to say, okay, that was a huge selling sign. Maybe you should get short. Or ZEV, the same thing. That was it ZEV? Which one was I saying? FULC? I think it was, yeah. Okay, we're rejecting VWAP here. We're pushing lower. Play the fade. And this one looked out that it just continued to fade for the whole rest of the day. So I'm looking to do more of that, seeing if that's going to be able to work more in this type of market. Obviously, what I'm doing is not working. I think we're coming up on 9 red days in a row, keeping the streak alive. Let me give them a count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days. Stupid. I had a stupid green day on the start of August that ruined my streak. But that's funny. That's part of trading. I really couldn't care less. That's just part of trading, and that's my mentality. I'm not discouraged by it. I'm kind of empowered by it for the story that I get to tell when I do actually end up becoming multimillionaire status of, man, yeah, you think you had it bad. I had 37 red days in a row. Just imagine. So that was trading today. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.